Hello ladies and gentlemen, good evening, welcome to Roma Theory. Massive news today because we've got some massive news on the Dybala front and Dybala getting closer in renewing that contract, but most importantly abandoning that release clause. That release clause is scary. For a player like Dybala, that release clause is too low. 12 million euros to release Paulo from Roma is a bargain. Like any team in the Premier League, any team in the Spanish Liga can activate that 12 million clause. And I think the board, Thiago Pinto, is working on removing that clause. And Dybala has said that he's resurrected in Rome. He has re-become closer to the levels he was in the first year at Juventus. His fitness isn't the best, but it's not the worst. I think in the last years at Juventus, it was definitely worse than this. He's got so many goals, so many contributions. Paulo loves this city. Paulo loves these fans. And Paulo has to stay. He's got that special warm heart for us. So I think it's very important to work on Dybala right now. We've worked on Smalling's contract. Milan scored in the meantime. It's Leao again. 2-0 Milan, by the way. We've basically worked on Smalling's contract. El Shaarawy's contract is almost done. The next one is Dybala. Dybala is the big one. Dybala is the big contract which we have to sort out. And I think we have to start working on it because if he continues with these stats this season, the big clubs are gonna pay that amount of money this summer. And the Thiago Pinto is working on removing that clause and potentially hiring his salary. That's what Dybala is actually tempted to agree on. Let's remove the release clause and I'm going to give you a higher salary. That's what the ownership is working on. That's what the board's working on. And that is what Dybala is starting to accept in these last few days. But you know me, the first thing which I'm going to do is read you a little article, a little fun article. It's a fun one because if you missed it, Thiago Pinto actually left the training ground one of these days. I believe it was the day after we beat Feyenoord. He left the training ground and a little man, a little kid, asked him, "Dybala's staying, right? Dybala's staying." And Thiago Pinto said, "Of course he's staying. Where do you think he's going?" So I'm going to read you this little article. There are those who took it as a simple joke and those who wanted to believe that it could soon turn into a real reassurance. For now, the reassuring smile of Thiago Pinto remains, who upon leaving Trigoria wanted to reassure a young fan about Paulo Dybala's future. Of course he's staying. Where do you want him to go? In Paulo's contract, there are two release clauses. There's one release clause, which is around 12 million, which is only valid for foreign teams. And there's a release clause of 20 million, which is only valid for Italian teams. Furthermore, if the Argentinian decides to stay, his contract will automatically adjust to a salary of 6 million, so it would increase. To date, there is an ample room for his permanence, especially in the case of Jose Mourinho's permanence. As Il Messaggero writes, Dybala was reborn in the capital, and to see him at the Stadio Olimpico, in addition to Pinto, there were also Daniele De Rossi and Francesco Totti against Feyenoord. And Dybala, post-Feyenoord, said, "I'd like to go have a dinner or even a simple coffee with Totti," he said after the end of the game. Paulo will soon go to dinner with both of them, and who knows if he doesn't want to ask the captain for the number 10 shirt. So yeah, a little fun one. That's obviously what Thiago Pinto said. I think it's obviously a joke to reassure the little man, but I think we're working on it. I think Dybala has to stay, and I think Dybala will stay. I think what will make Dybala renew that contract, extend that contract, and remove that release clause is the fact that in this city, with this team, he's completely revitalized. And if you add on to that Champions League football, I think Paulo will not hesitate once in extending the contract. I think he's fallen in love with this team, and similar to a lot of players and our manager too, who come to this team, you fall in love with the passion, with the love. Dybala is definitely the player who the fans love the most, and especially because I think right now in a team like Roma, he's the center of everything. He knows that he's got a massive responsibility in a team like Roma. He's the center of talent. He knows that the team is very dependent on him. And I definitely think that if he stays alongside Mourinho, will definitely be the two players, the two components who will put a lot of pressure on signing quality players. Because if Dybala has more support around him, then Roma can compete for high things. Dybala is a world-class player. Dybala is that player which is different to other players. Dybala is, I'd argue, throughout this season, top 3 players in the league. I think after Osimhen and Kvara, Dybala's been the best in this team. I think top 4 players in the Serie A right now are Osimhen, Kvara, Dybala, and Leao, and that's just facts. Dybala is a world class player. Dybala is that classic Argentinian player who plays similar football to Leo Messi. That insane touch. He's that cherry of the cake. He's that cherry on top of the cake. And obviously, it was a big surprise. And to see him in a team like Roma, to see him in a team like we're not used to this. So it was a great. And you have to give credit to the Fredkins who pulled this secretly. No one was expecting this, and now he has to extend it, because if we qualify for Champions League, either if we reach top 4 or if we win Europa League or if we do both, then I personally think he will want to stay. And if we keep him and we add more quality players around him, we've got a great creative midfielder section. Especially also if you add on to this Pellegrini turning back to his real Pellegrini, who he has been in these last few games. That's kind of the conclusion of this. In terms of the financial actions behind his extension, I think the most important thing right now is to remove that release clause, because it's a scary release clause, as we said at the start. The second we eliminate that release clause, we know that we've secured him. We know that if teams want him, they have to pay a lot of money, because Dybala's worth a lot of money. And if we eliminate that release clause, then we can have a compromise in hiring his salary. And apparently he's tempted to accept this. I think there will be updates in these next couple of weeks. We've got Atalanta tomorrow. We've got a tough calendar. We've got a tough end of April and obviously May, with both their Serie A and Europa League fixtures. But it's also going to be a busy few months for Thiago Pinto, because I think we've understood that he's trying to pull as many deals as possible before the preseason, because if we get, and this isn't about Dybala, but just the general strategy of Thiago Pinto, you can clearly see that when it comes to the free agents we want to sign, you can definitely tell that he's working on it in advance. So the preseason gets maximized and all of that gets maximized. Another thing about Dybala's future, I think it's very much linked with Mourinho. I think Mourinho will stay. I've said it again. There is no part of me which believes Mourinho will end at the end of the season, especially after what he said after that Feyenoord game. He's happy here. He's very happy here. And when a manager says that, yes, it's not confirmed. Yes, it's not official, but I think he's gonna stay. That's my take on it. And I think Dybala, obviously, as the majority of players, has fallen in love with Mourinho's mentality. The thing about Dybala is that I think one of the reasons why at Juventus he didn't win much is because Juventus don't have quality managers. Juventus, Dybala was at Juventus under Allegri. I don't know. I don't like Allegri as a manager. And then he was at Juventus under Pirlo, which wasn't a good manager. And then who else did they have? He was mainly at Juventus with these two managers. And obviously moving to a club with a manager like Mourinho, who's got a bigger mentality than any manager that you've been with up to now, is clearly significant, and you can clearly tell that he's dependent on Mourinho too. We're done speaking about about Dybala. I want to give a few words on Llorente because apparently I am reading that Thiago Pinto is not willing to trigger the release clause because it's a bit too high. And to be fair, I kind of agree with him. Leeds United are not letting any discounts happen. They have fixed that release clause around 18 million euros. 18 million euros is a lot of money, especially now that we've been targeted by FFP. Llorente's good. Llorente's been playing well, but I just feel like 18 million euros to get him permanently isn't the best of deals. I think Thiago Pinto will work with Leeds to try and kind of decrease that, but I'm reading Leeds are very fixed on it. My only hope in Leeds United actually decreasing that release clause is if they get relegated. And to be fair, Leeds United are pretty damn crap this season. I mean, they conceded like 14 goals in the last 3 games. So part of me believes they will be relegated. If they are relegated, then I don't think they're in a position to ask 18 million euros for a player which they loaned out. So if they get relegated, I think it could happen. They could release it. I mean, looking at the Premier League table, Southampton rock bottom 24, Nottingham Forest 27, Everton 28, Leicester 28, and Leeds 29. It's not looking good. I mean, I think Southampton and Nottingham Forest are going down. Everton, I don't think are going down. Leicester are good at kind of revitalising at the end of the season. I think Leeds could get scrapped into that relegation scrap. And it's not looking good if they do get into it, because if they do get into it, I mean, look, conclusion here is, if they don't decrease that, I agree with Thiago Pinto. We can't be spending 80 million euros to sign him, especially now that we've renewed Smalling's contract and that we're very close in signing Ndika. Updates will come in the next couple of days. I know he's been playing well. He's a good player. I think if that release clause was a bit lower, I'd consider getting him permanently. But I don't know. I just feel like there are definitely better options around them. So that's my take on it. I think it's a bit too exaggerated. So I kind of, and now that we're being targeted by FFP, we have to be careful, because obviously now that we've been targeted by FFP, right? Let's say we do trigger that 18 million. If we trigger that 18 million, then that means that we're forced to get 18 million from the selling of players. You see what I mean? We have to be careful when it comes to signing players. We have to sign players, but we have to also take in consideration the money we loan out and give and get in by selling the players out. So that's my take on it. But again, if there are any updates, I'll keep you updated. And yeah, look, I mean, ending the stream, we've got Atalanta tomorrow. Tough game. Match preview yesterday, so make sure to go watch it. To go watch my predicted 11 and my betting tip and all of the things that we normally do in a match preview. I went live yesterday for it. Juventus-Napoli tonight. It's a big one. Juventus-Napoli is a big one. Because obviously Juventus is buzzing. They reached the Europa League semi-final. They just got the 15 points back momentarily. But obviously, on the other hand, Napoli need that bounce back. They are not the same team as they were before. They got thrown out of the Champions League. They've not been winning much lately in this area. I think Juventus have been poor in big games this season. They lost against us. They lost against Lazio. They lost against Milan. They lost against them. They lost against Napoli. They drew against Atalanta. They're not the greatest of teams in big games. They obviously are coming from 2 consecutive defeats. I think Napoli can pull it. I think Napoli can pull something, and I think it would be great if Napoli pulls something, because if they do pull something, we'd be 3 points from Juventus, we'd be 5 points from Lazio, who lost yesterday, and obviously Inter and Milan both won this game week. So, yeah. But step by step, we've got Atalanta tomorrow. Why is my mom spamming me on WhatsApp? I have no idea. Maybe the lineups are out. Let's quickly check them. Yeah, Osimhen's starting. Osimhen and Kvara are starting. Spurs are going after Ndika. Thing with Ndika is that I think the Fredkins are moving secretly behind it, just like they're doing with Awar. Awar is basically done. Last week there was the rumor that a pre-agreement had already been found. I think something is happening behind the scenes. There were also the rumor that Ndika was spotted in a clinic in St. Moritz, which was the same clinic Zaniolo got surgery when he broke his ACL when he was a Roma player. I think they're moving behind the scenes. I think if we get Ndika, it'd be great. I'm not scared about Tottenham. If Ndika goes to Tottenham, his IQ is very, very low. Tottenham or... I mean, look, who... And I'm not saying this because I'm a Roma fan. Every player would go to Roma than Tottenham. The only reason why you'd prioritize Tottenham over Roma is because you probably get more money from there. But if Ndika's IQ actually works, then he doesn't go to Tottenham. Tottenham just lost 6-1 against Newcastle. Tottenham conceded 5 goals in 20 minutes. Like, bro, don't go there. How much will Dybala get in his new salary? So the plan is to eliminate his release clause and higher his salary to 6 or 6.5, maybe 7 million. He's older, but we could waste 10-12 on someone unproven who doesn't know us. The 18 might be worth it for Llorente. I don't think so. I don't agree. I think it's too much for Llorente. If they decrease it, yes, but 18 million is a lot. La Roma si il fei no. Bella Willy. Svitlana says Forza Roma. Mu loves it here, but he won't stay if we have to struggle financially next season. This is Brandon. Too much for Llorente, especially if we're going for Ndika. Yeah, look, ladies and gentlemen, I will catch you tomorrow for the live watch along. I don't even have school tomorrow. No school tomorrow. No school on Tuesday. Yeah, live watch along tomorrow. If you haven't already, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. By the way, thank you so much for the immense support in these past few days. I'm really not too used to the amount of views and sub increase that has happened after that final vlog. But yeah, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, click everything down below, and I'll catch you tomorrow. Simon out.